Hey guys, thanks for watching. One question that I've gotten asked quite a few times is how much radiation are they getting from their x-ray? Well, first of all, it's a lot lower than a long time ago because we use digital instead of film. When they used film, it was a lot more radiation to the patient. But the technology has advanced so much that you really don't get that much dose, and it's just advancing more and more each year. So like getting an x-ray like 10 years ago, you got a lot more radiation than getting an x-ray today. Most people never realize this, but going about your daily life, you're actually exposed to a bunch of different radiation sources. It can be natural or man-made. Terrestrial radiation is radiation that comes from radioactive elements that are found in the Earth's crust. So, for example, like uranium, radium, thorium, and radon. Cosmic radiation is radiation that comes from the sun, solar, or beyond the sun, galactic radiation. There is internal radiation also, which is radiation from radioactive isotopes that we end up taking up into our bodies and ingesting from the foods that we eat and the different things that we drink, and it becomes part of our bodies. For example, I feel like everybody knows that bananas are high in potassium. When plants absorb like potassium from the soil, there's regular potassium in the soil and radioactive potassium in the soil, and they can't distinguish it. So that radioactive potassium ends up getting into the bananas. When you eat the bananas, you're actually eating some radiation. I mean, it's not very much, but I remember one of my physics professors put a Geiger counter up to a banana and it actually started ticking. But it's really not that big of a deal. When we digest and absorb the potassium in the banana, that radioactive potassium becomes a part of us and starts shooting out some radiation. Man-made ionizing radiation is just radiation that humans make. So some examples include nuclear fuel used for generating power, atomic fallout from nuclear weapons testing or just nuclear bombs, nuclear power plant accidents, consumer products containing radioactive materials. For example, fire detectors, or smoke detectors, I guess is what they're called, they have a little bit of a radioactive element in there. So you are getting radiation from that. And then finally, there is medical radiation. So conventional radiography and fluoroscopy, so that's what I'm trained in. It's just like a regular x-ray. It makes up about 5%. Interventional fluoroscopy is about 7%. So nuclear medicine is about 12%, and computed tomography, aka CT or CAT scan, is about 24% of your radiation. So with all of these sources of radiation, the average dose of radiation that a person gets in 1 year from natural background radiation is 3 millisieverts. And in total, including man-made and background radiation, you get about 6.3 millisieverts of radiation every single year. This chart shows the background equivalent radiation time, or BERT for short. It helps people understand just how much radiation they are receiving from a specific exam compared with the natural background radiation received over a specific time, such as hours, days, weeks, months, or even years. So this chart includes regular radiography, dental x-ray, mammography, bone density, fluoroscopy, CT, and PET scan. But the exams that a regular x-ray tech does are the lower GI tract, the upper GI tract, the spine, extremity, which could include from the hand to the shoulder or the foot to the hip, and finally, the chest. The exams that x-ray techs do on a regular basis are low to negligible for the lifetime risk of fatal cancer from getting the exam. Then I also kind of scoured the internet to find more specific exams and how much radiation you get from each of them. Basically, a chest x-ray gives you 10 days of background radiation. An extremity x-ray, such as like a finger, a hand, a foot, an ankle, a knee, gives you about 3 hours of background radiation. An abdomen or pelvis x-ray gives you about 4 months of background radiation. A spine x-ray gives you about 6 months of background radiation. The spine is from the neck to your lower back, so some parts of the spine give you actually less, and then some parts of the spine give you more. So like, I think it's the lumbar spine that gives you about 7 months of background radiation. A barium enema, which I don't know if you guys know what a barium enema is, but it's where instead of getting a colonoscopy, you get barium up your butt and it goes all the way and coats your large intestine. That gets a lot more radiation because that's fluoroscopy, which uses continuous x-ray, and it's like a movie x-ray. It's not a picture x-ray, so it's an actual moving x-ray. It gives you about 3.2 years of background radiation. As a comparison, so those were just regular x-rays that a regular x-ray tech will give. CTs, you have to be a CT tech to be able to do a CT. CTs give a lot of radiation. And this is basically because CTs are x-ray machines that go around in a circle taking pictures. So it looks like the CT machine looks like a donut, and then there is an x-ray tube inside that donut that goes around taking pictures at different angles. And then it puts it together in a 2D or a 3D format. So that's why you get a lot more radiation, because it's just multiple x-rays over and over again. So the CT exam that gives you the least amount of radiation is a low-dose chest CT. And that's about equal to 6 months of background radiation. But if you get an abdomen and a pelvis with and without contrast, that gives you the most amount of radiation, which is about 7 years of background radiation. This is because they have to do the entire scan twice, once without any contrast, and then once with contrast. So as you can see, regular x-rays give you much less dose. One thing that you need to keep in mind is that there is always a risk that you might develop cancer, but also that the valuable information gained from the exam far outweighs the risk. So if you do go to x-ray school, understanding radiation and the dose and radiation units is very important, because a sizable part of the ARRT registry exam includes the questions about radiation biology. So if you guys like this video, please make sure to comment down below and ask any questions. Thank you for watching.